So in this video, I'm going to be going over some classical guitar iceberg memes that I found. Now, what is an iceberg meme? Basically, an iceberg meme is a meme that has a photo of an iceberg, of course, and it has different facts about it as you get deeper and deeper into the iceberg. Things way up top are things that everybody knows, even people that maybe aren't even involved in that niche at all, and things way down bottom are things that pretty much nobody knows. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about these, explain if I agree with them or not, and explain why these things are even put on here. So if you want to find out more, stay tuned and let's get started. So the first thing that I want to say is that all the memes that I'm showing you come from the Facebook page Julian Breen posting for Nocturnal Teens, which in my opinion is probably one of the best places to find your hottest and freshest classical guitar memes today. So if you're not already in that group, go ahead and join it and have a good time. Let's take a look at this first one. Okay, so first thing I see is Sor, Tarraga, York, Spanish Romance, Giuliani, Albanese, and Granados. Honestly, yeah, I think these all fit up here perfectly. Sor, if you're a guitarist, or even not a guitarist, it's just some basic guitar music. Tarraga, pieces like Lagrima, of course, pieces like Requero de la Alhambra, pieces that everybody plays, and even your average person just loves, are going to be totally top tier. Andrew York, I think is a little bit more niche, but I think his music is very accessible, which is why I think it's so high up here. Spanish Romance, of course. You probably don't even need to know anything about guitar, and you hear this song and you probably recognize it. At least I can tell you this from my own personal experience playing at restaurants and weddings, that people love Spanish Romance. Giuliani, Albanese, I totally agree. Also very entry-level guitar, at least pretty basic to the average person. Granados, I don't think belongs here because I think Granados is a little bit more niche. I might put Granados 1 or 2 tiers down from here. So coming up next, we have Scarlatti, Dowland, Legnani, Organdi, Mertz, Cost, Paganini, Villalobos, and Barrios. I think a lot of these are really good. There are definitely pieces and composers that people like a lot, and people, even if they don't know them, they tend to like the music from. So it's pretty accessible. I think maybe that's what this list is going for, is just how accessible the music is my guess. But the creator of this can let me know in the comments if you guys are watching this. On the next low, we have Tedesco, Ponce, Weiss, Defire, Ponce, Dions, Rodrigo, Assad, Tonsman, and Piazzolla. So I think all of these are pretty accessible, but they're definitely not as accessible as the ones listed above. I don't know if I would put Dions here, though. I think Dions should be put up a tier, at least be put up next to someone like Barrios. Assad, I'm guessing that means Sergio Assad, and I think his music kind of fits here, but also it kind of fits up there. It's advanced, but it's catchy, you know? Next up, we have Turina, Walton, Britton, Koshkin, Duarte, Dominiconi, Larson, and Bogdanovich. Honestly, I think all of these guys fit perfectly here. They're like everybody's introduction to what 20th century guitar music is or could be. Martin, Brouwer, Hetsu, Goss, and Arnold. I think Brouwer deserves a beat in almost every category because that's the cool thing. I think Brouwer definitely has something for everybody. In terms of Martin and Goss and Arnold, I totally agree. Coming up below them, as we're digging deeper and deeper, we have Hines, Takamitsu, Ohana, Babbitt, and Hinastera. I have not played music by any of these people. I am familiar with some of them, like Hinastera and Takamitsu, but I never played it. Coming up below that is Barrio, JM, Sanchez, Verdu, Ma, Carter, and Sierra. You know, the only name on this list that I even recognize is Carter. Let's go to the last level. Bach, piano music, and Waltz by Catalud. The other thing I forgot to mention is a lot of these memes, I think the whole irony of them is that the lowest tier, the one that's the deepest one that pretty much nobody is supposed to know besides the select few, also ends up being like the most basic thing ever. And I think the irony is that like once you've cycled through all these really deep things, you've gone through everything, that even the things that nobody else knows about, you come back full circle and you're like, oh yeah, of course, music by Bach. I do think it's really funny that the Waltz by Catalud is here, because the only reason why I know it is because it's in Suzuki Guitar Book 2. And other than that, I don't know anybody else who's played it before. Anyway, so let's keep on going. This one I think is a solid meme. I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10. I think some things could be flipped around a little bit, and I'm not totally sure what they're going for, if it's pieces or composers, or what people like to listen to, what people play, but I definitely agree with a lot of things on here, and you can flip it so many different ways, so nice job. Okay, so quickly glancing at this one, it's clear that this one is music of Leo Brouwer, which is someone, like I said in the last one, that everybody's familiar with. So let's see what we got. Up top, we have Un Dia de Noviembre and Danza del Altiplano. Honestly, I agree. Those are probably the two most basic Leo Brouwer pieces that, one, everybody likes or hates if you're some, and two, everybody plays or has played a part of at some point. So far, so good. Let's keep going. The Estudios Sencillos. Honestly, Classical Guitar 101, if you're a freshman in college at any school, or most schools I want to say, you've probably played some of, if not almost all of these studies. They're great studies for students to learn to get to know the guitar a bit better, and honestly, they work pretty well in a nice little set too. I've seen some pretty good players play them as a whole entire set of music, and it sounds really nice. So definitely pretty common, but not as common as the first one. Coming up below that is Pasaje Cubano con Lluvia. Honestly, I'm not too familiar with this piece, so I might put it lower personally, but again, that doesn't mean anything. Coming up down below that is El Decameron Negro and Danza Características. So we're getting into where Brouwer is getting a bit more modernistic, you could say. They're not his most modern pieces, which I think we'll see more of down below, but they are pretty modern. Something that the average person, might be a little bit turned away from. Underneath that, we have Sonata No. 1 and the Micro Piezas. So, yes, I think these ones are ones that people aren't that familiar with, one, because they're crazy hard, at least the sonatas are, and number two, they're not that commonly played, at least, again, not as common as these ones. Below that one is The Eternal Spiral. This is a piece that I don't think I've even listened to, and I only know it because it's discussed as one of the very, very modern pieces that most people don't like, and that's probably why many people don't play it. Now, when I say most people don't like it, I'm talking about audience members, and if the audience doesn't like it, chances are most people aren't going to play it in concert, unless if they're playing it for a concert of people who are really into that kind of music, Below that, we have a piece I'm not familiar with at all. And below that, we have the Beatles transcriptions. They're not that common, but I think it's awesome that they're included here because, yeah, they are Browers. If you listen to them, everything in these arrangements are very, very Brouwer-like. So if you don't know them, check them out. Okay, so I like this one because it's much more specific. Let's see what we got. Spanish Romance, 996 Beret, Asturias, Recuerdos, Laguna, and people that say Hector Villalobos. I don't know if I get that last one, but yes, everything up here is, like I said, for some of the other ones, Classical Guitar 101. Super, super basic, and pretty much everybody likes it, knows it, plays it, all that stuff. 12 Etudes, Grand Overture, Giuliani Folias, and Magic Flute Variations. Pretty common. I think some of these are a little bit less common than you might think. But again, I knew all of these without even thinking about it, so maybe they're onto something. Sonata Classica, Elogia de la Danza, the rest of 996, and Mallorca. So let me explain why I'm laughing about 996. So 996 is the Bach suite that has the beret that pretty much everybody knows. It's been used in tons of rock songs and movies and pretty much everywhere else. And everybody knows that, but nobody knows the rest of the suite, which is really funny that it's just listed as the rest of 996. Alojo de la Danza and Mallorca, also two great pieces, not that common, pretty cool. Below that is the Usher Waltz, the Chaconne, the Ponce de Folias, any etude that's not 1, 2, 11, or 12. And by that they mean the Villalobos etudes. And I agree. 1 is basic, 2 is pretty basic, 11 is very basic, and 12 is very basic. And it's so basic that those are some of the only few I've played. Next layer we got Sonata Romantica, Invocation e Danza, and like any Gandhi. Yes, I totally think that is totally true. And nobody knows Ennio Gandhi, and the people that do seem to know like a handful of it. Invocation e Danza, yes, definitely one that many people don't really know until they start getting seriously into classical guitar. And the Sonata Romantica. What I love about this one is just that like some of them aren't even like specific things. They're just like descriptions, which is great. Okay, so for the next one we have the Arnold Fantasia and the Nocturnal. Again, pieces that I think are so deep because we start getting into contemporary music. From looking at these Iceberg memes, the big thing I'm getting is just a lot of people think poorly of contemporary guitar. They're putting it all on the bottom. Minus, of course, Brouwer and Barrios, who are always going to be up top. Below that, we have two pieces or composers that I don't think I even know. I might if I really thought about it or I listened to them, but off the top of my head, I don't recognize either of these. If you guys do, let me know more about them and why I should know them, but Yeah, that makes sense why they're so deep down. And finally below it says, actually practicing scales, and people that say violobos instead of violobos. Honestly, no one does either of those things. Anyway, thank you to anybody who made them and let me use their memes. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, if you guys are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Ring the bell, give this video a like. You know what to do if you want to see more classical guitar content. Anyway, that's all for this video, so I will see you guys in the next video, and keep on playing.